I went to law school in order to go to Capitol Hill and work on Capitol Hill, and I worked for some amazing people. I worked for Congressman Norm Mineta, and when I thought that we'd never ever have a Democratic president, this guy Bill Clinton popped up on the scene, so I took a risk and worked on his campaign and worked 5 years for the Clinton administration, and finally came out of the closet, met Stephen, and threw everything in the car and moved to San Francisco.
So you're out of the closet because of Bill Clinton?
Well, actually, yeah, because somebody sort of blackmailed me out of the closet and that I was working with.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What was more exciting, working on the Clinton campaign or within the Clinton administration?
Working on, you know, they were both very different experiences, but I think I have fonder memories of working on the campaign because it was so fresh and new, and you know, I realized it was much more about bringing people together than it was supporting the candidate, when it really boiled down to it. So.
Yeah, I remember that was the first campaign where I could actually hear people screaming from blocks away. I lived on the top of Twin Peaks at that time, and when it was announced that he was actually going to be the president-elect, you could just hear the roar from the Castro.
Yeah.
How do you compare the Clinton administration and the Obama administration? Is it too soon to draw any comparisons?
I think it is a little bit soon, but what I've noticed is that, like, Bill Clinton loved to have all the details, and so he would basically figure out the policy while he was making a speech sometimes.
That must have been challenging for staff.
It was, and we actually had with one department who would give us fake statistics, and we were watching him give a speech once, and everything he was saying was wrong. We're like, oh my God, the president is not telling the truth, and it's our fault. So whereas Barack Obama, like, if you think about the speech he made in Cairo, it's just big principles and ideas, and he's got a team to put things into place. And in a way, I mean, I was, of course, a huge Clinton supporter, but I'm so just thrilled with Barack Obama right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a better way of governing, especially given everything that's going on in the world, because if you try to be too specific, it gives people an opportunity to sort of pick it apart, you know. So I sort of like his approach a lot.
So there are some people within the LGBT community who say, well, why hasn't he outlawed or undone Don't Ask, Don't Tell, or why don't we have this, why don't we have that? What would you say to those people?
Oh boy, you know, I'm torn myself. You know, some days I think, oh, come on, just stand up and support us. And other times I think, no, you know, here's someone who's African American who, you know, just is, you know, it took hundreds of years and we're still not done with getting rid of the baggage of slavery. So, you know, sometimes we have to carry the baggage ourselves. Sometimes other people carry it for us. And I think right now it's a little bit too early in his administration for him to support us completely the way we wish he would. Mm-hmm. But then other days I think, oh, come on, just get over it. You know, just help us.
Right. Well, I mean, you work for an institution which is already way over it. Certainly a leader here in the Bay Area, all over California, for the innovative programs. That's the LGBT-Center in San Francisco. And I remember from that going from being a used car lot to now an icon. How did your experiences in politics in general, but within the Clinton administration, working with President Clinton and then Vice President Gore, prepare you to be head of economic development at the LGBT Center?
Well, the content, very specifically, when I was working for the Clinton administration, I worked at the U.S. Small Business Administration. So I had, you know, really relevant experience doing economic development nationwide. So that was sort of the easy part. I did have somebody tell me when I first moved to San Francisco that you might know politics, but you've never worked in gay politics. So
you're going to tell me who that was?
No, I'm not going to tell you who that was.
I tried.
But it was, you know, and it is different. You know, it is very challenging, but I think I'm happier doing the work I'm doing today than any work I've ever done. You know, in particular, we're doing some amazing things for transgender community members, you know, and really not just the work we're doing, but also educating other organizations, employers and other nonprofit organizations about our community members so they're better able to serve us and meet our needs.
Yeah. I know when you first came to San Francisco, you worked for a program administered, I guess you would say, by the Chamber of Commerce, the San Francisco Partnership. Mm-hmm. And I remember that its mission was to sell San Francisco as a business-friendly environment. Mm-hmm. Is that true or not true?
It's not true. I mean, you know, but people don't come to San Francisco, generally, their first priority isn't to make money. Their first priority is to be themselves, you know, and I think that's the opportunity with LGBT people starting small businesses is, you know, a lot of people just get burned out by not being themselves 9 to 5 every day, working for a major corporation, where you start your own business and you can be yourself. You can do whatever you want to do. And I think that's what's happening in the economy right now, is creating more opportunities for people who are entrepreneurial.
So do you think, because there is this, to use your phrase, an urge or a need to be yourself, that gay men, lesbians, transgender individuals are more entrepreneurial just by nature?
I think so. I've always thought of, sort of East Coast Wall Street. You have a bunch of, white straight guys who went to Ivy League schools looking through the Wall Street Journal looking for fresh opportunities, and they're all the same person looking at the same newspaper. They're not going to come up with anything fresh. I think we're so diverse, and I think it's, I think we are in a better position sometimes to create new ideas. I also think that we're much more in touch with the marketplace and the companies and the products that really do serve our needs, and so I think we're in a better position to sort of create those.
So you think, in a sense, that we are not only a loyal market for corporate America, quote unquote, or the corporate world, but we're a good test market. We know what we like, and we support those people who like us. Absolutely.
I've thought about it as sort of parallel processing, because a lot of companies will market to us, but we're reading the fine print, and we're going to see who, like what celebrities they pick for their spokesmodels, and we're going to read the news, the business news, and we're going to look at their diversity policies. And if they're trying to fool us, we're just going to, we might be excited initially when they do the big marketing spree, but after that we're going to turn away from them.
So do you think gay businesses or LGBT people are going to turn away from Trump properties because of the Miss California debacle?
Oh, Lord. I don't even know if I want to go there.
Well, let's talk about this. The small business program at the LGBT-Center is really a first of its type program, and you created it. What gave you the idea, and what are some of the specifics of what you actually do?
Well, it's the first of its type for the LGBT community, but these economic development organizations are thriving in San Francisco and throughout the country. It's just no one ever marketed to the LGBT community before. And one of my colleagues, David Bach, actually came up with a really relevant statistic. 90% of the people who come to the center for our services have never tried to get services elsewhere. So we're just not...
You mean they haven't even gone to a quote-unquote non-gay business development?
Exactly, because no one's ever marketed to them before. So what we're doing is just setting up a new organization like the other organizations, but we're serving the LGBT community. So we provide one-on-one services, and we're experts, and if we don't have the answer, we have a network of the experts who will have the answer. So I'm pretty confident that we can help just about any entrepreneur with any situation. We have workshops, we help people get loans for their businesses. A lot of times you can't get a loan because if you don't have 3 years of experience in business, or you don't have a collateral.
Catch-22.
Exactly, but there are micro-lenders, nonprofit micro-lenders that we work with, so we can get like $25,000 to $50,000 loan for someone with, if they have some problems with their credit scores in the past, if they don't have the collateral. We can help people.
So is there a typical LGBT business, and is there a typical LGBT attendee or client of your programs?
At this point, we are we're considered. We work with micro enterprise. We're working with sole proprietors or very small businesses, usually 5 people or less. I don't think there is a typical. I've been there long enough now to see sort of waves of different interests. There are currently there are a lot of people interested in filming, because the technology is so accessible right now. So we have a lot of clients who are trying to set up, film studios.
Well, and certainly, even though this center is located in San Francisco, because of the power of technology, the internet, and the growing importance of social networking, I'm sure there are people all over Northern California who can potentially partake of your knowledge, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, they can come. Again, the one-on-one sessions are free. They just need to call us for an appointment. Or the workshops, every last Wednesday of the month we have workshops, and we serve people from all over the Bay Area.
So I've heard different statistics. We call the show 10% because of that cliche that we are 10% of the general population. How big a share of the business community here in Northern California is the LGBT small business or entrepreneur?
Well, it's funny because it's about 10% of 10%. There are 10% of the population in San Francisco is LGBT, the adult
Only
population.
10% in San Francisco?
Only 10%. Yeah, it's about 88,000 people. We just had a program at the Commonwealth Club recently. We had some people from the Williams Institute sort of talk about their statistics with people from the Department of Health, and they pretty much agreed about 90,000 LGBT people in San Francisco, and similarly there are about 80 to 90,000 small businesses. So if you figure we got 10% of the population, we probably have at least probably about 10,000 LGBT-owned small businesses.
And what does that represent in dollars? i.e., when the gay community, or I should say the LGBT business community speaks, do politicians and policymakers listen, and should they?
I think they should. I don't think they do yet.